Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to take a look at one of the more challenging concepts for all students in the AP Seminar and AP Research content areas, and that's understanding multiple perspectives. Students, before we get started today, you're going to need a piece of paper and a pen so that you can follow along with the activity and get a little practice with the various concepts that we're going to cover. So go ahead and pause the video for a moment and make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen, and then when you're ready, hit start. All right, let's talk about, first of all, what is a perspective in AP Capstone? Trying to get very specific about how this word is used inside of this course. A perspective in the AP Capstone program is communicated via an argument. That comes from Rachel Betley, our Senior Director for the Capstone Curriculum Development. It is the idea that I am communicating about the position I hold on an issue. It's not just that I'm pulling facts or information from a source. It's that I am evaluating and identifying and communicating about the argument that a source or a particular individual has. And then as a student, I'm going to need to communicate my own perspective throughout the assessments. This isn't about opinions, right? This is about a perspective, meaning that I have an argument. I'm going to support it with claims, evidence, and reasoning. It's not just how I look at things. It's not just that a student sees the classroom differently than the teacher sees the classroom. It's the arguments they have or the perspectives that they have about what is happening in a classroom or in the observable world that they're looking at. All right, multiple perspectives just refers to different ways of addressing an existing problem or issues. The perspectives don't have to be directly related to each other. They only need to be relevant to the issue being studied via your research question, whether that's in your individual research report or in your individual written argument or in the end of course exam or in any activities you're doing in class where the teacher is asking you to demonstrate the skill of multiple perspectives. As we see here in the image, the idea that people who cannot see an elephant, depending on what part of the process or what part of the elephant they're interacting with, they will have a different viewpoint or argument about what that animal is or whether or not it is even an animal. So in terms of multiple perspectives, let's get a little practice. Remember, we have a piece of paper and a pen. What examples of multiple perspectives may be present on your school campus? So write a number 1 on your paper and write out at least 3 perspectives about an issue on your school campus. Go ahead and pause the video while you write out all 3 of those responses. Now that you've written down your 3 perspectives, review them, make sure that they are communicating an argument about an issue, not that you just said you identified a particular issue, but that you expressed arguments or perspectives about those issues. And now let's move on. All right, let's talk about binary perspectives. These are oftentimes the easiest ways for people to understand perspectives. These are ones that exist in opposition to each other. So if I'm looking at the role of homework on academic performance, the binary choices would be more homework or less homework. I think this is something all of us can understand no matter what the issue is. Binaries are very easy for us to understand in the classroom and in the world around us. We get that I believe something to be true, somebody else believes the opposite. Those are binary perspectives. So thinking about the issue you identified with our first activity, what examples of binary perspectives might be present on the internet? We're going to go ahead and pause here as first you choose a topic. Does not have to be about your issue on school, but it could be about your issue on school. And think about what kind of binary perspectives might be present on the internet. Choose a topic, select a perspective on that topic, and then identify an opposing perspective. Then write your choices on the paper. So you're going to pause the video while you go through those 4 steps. Ask your instructor for assistance if you need help or clarification, and then when you're done, resume the video. All right, now that we've looked at binary perspectives, let's talk about another concept or another version of perspectives, and these are similar perspectives. These may be perspectives which both address a singular approach, more homework, but advocate for the position for different reason. For example, more homework improves AP test scores, or more homework helps struggling students in math. Both of those perspectives are arguing for the use of homework, but for different reasons. The first perspective makes a direct relationship between more homework and an improvement of AP test scores. The second perspective says more homework helps struggling students in math. These are not binary or oppositional perspectives. They are similar perspectives. Let's think of now, with some practice, what examples of similar perspectives may be present in relation to the use of government power. So let's think about whether it's your local, your state, or your national government, what examples of similar perspectives may be present. So you're going to choose one perspective related to the use of power by the government, and then you're going to identify an example of a similar perspective. Remember, that similar perspective needs to be in relation to the first one, not binary or oppositional. Go ahead and pause the video while you write out your responses, and then when you are done, resume the video. All right, our next version of perspectives are unrelated perspectives, and this can be a little more challenging for you to identify. Unrelated perspectives refers to different ways of addressing an existing problem or issue. The perspectives do not have to be directly related to each other. They only need to be relevant to the issue being studied via the research question. So they don't have to be directly related to each other. They only need to be relevant to the issue. So our example here would be more homework will improve AP test scores, or the key to improving AP test scores is better teacher training. The first perspective is about homework. The second perspective is about better teacher training. Those two things are relevant to the issue of AP test scores, but they are not similar to each other than the fact that they're relevant to the topic. Both of them are very clearly relevant to the issue of improving AP test scores, but they are not so similar that we would count them as similar perspectives. So, for our practice, what examples of unrelated perspectives may be present in sports, art, or entertainment? Choose one perspective related to sports, art, or entertainment, and then identify an unrelated but relevant perspective to that issue. Go ahead and pause the video, and then when you are done writing your responses for unrelated perspectives, go ahead and resume. Now, why does it matter that I am able to identify and communicate about perspectives and how they relate to each other? There are at least 3 rows of the official rubrics for AP seminar assessments that directly relate to the ability to identify, evaluate, and place multiple perspectives in conversation in your writing. Row 4 of the rubric for the individual research report evaluates whether or not you've identified multiple perspectives on a particular issue or topic and place them in conversation with each other by explaining their relationships, whether they are oppositional or binary, similar, or if they are unrelated but relevant. Row 3 of the rubric for the individual written argument also does this same thing, and at this point we're hoping that you're doing that within the same paragraph. Right? In the individual research report, a lot of students tend to put their multiple perspectives in different sections of the paper, but the students who score the best on the individual written argument are the ones that now take those multiple perspectives, whether they're oppositional or binary, similar or relevant to each other, and then place them in conversation and evaluate them. Which one makes the stronger point? Which one provides the strongest evidence? And we'll see that on row 3 of the rubric for the individual written argument. We'll also see it again in row 3 of the rubric for the end of course exam part B, which I would like to remind you is the most valuable assessment in terms of its relative weight to your AP exam score. So if you can verify that you have multiple perspectives inside of the same paragraphs when discussing the perspectives of end of course exam part B, first identifying the perspectives of the sources you're referencing and then placing them in conversation with your own perspective, whether you're contributing an oppositional or similar or relevant perspective. This is where we're going to see this particular skill being important for your AP exam score. All right, take your notes that you made today while doing the practice, and when your table mates are done completing the same activity, discuss your responses with each other. If you're working alone or your table mates are taking too long, call your instructor over and have a conversation with your instructor so you can review your examples and make sure that you have a strong understanding of multiple perspectives and how they will be used in AP seminar.